Hello, my fellow limitless HBICs. How you doing on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? This may be a longer video. Knowing me, it's probably going to be. But you're going to want to stay to the end because it's going to be something exciting, I think, at the end. And you know me, when the fuck do I ever ask you to stick around to the end? You know what I mean? Give a girl a break. So let's start with the normal shit. If you need help figuring out what's going on between you and your manifestation, please feel free to email me at manifestingwithkimberly@gmail.com. Very important. My channel is just called Manifesting with Kimberly. It's not manifestingwithkimberly@gmail.com. Okay. So there is a scammer on YouTube. I will put the picture of the scumbag channel right now. Yeah. It's not how I spell my name, you fucking idiot. Okay. They are scamming you. Okay. I don't get into my comments and ask people to email me. I don't do that. We might talk about it in the video, but it's not my channel name. Number one. Number two, guys, use discernment. Use discernment. This girl doesn't get in the comments and then beg you to get a hold of me or coach with me. I don't do that. Okay. And these scumbags are all over the place, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, okay? They steal other people's content. They steal their personalities. They steal to trick you to spend money. So please be careful. Please be careful. I do not do email or DM coaching. I do not. Okay? I am only a video to video coaching call, and I'm on the video. I never turn off the video. It's always me on the other end. Use discernment and pay. If you do get stupid and purchase services from someone that's impersonating me, hopefully you've used a method that you can, dispute it and get your money back. All right, be careful. Be careful. There are scumbag scammers all over. It's happening to other channels than just mine. And I'm doing my best to handle them. But as far as like TikTok sucks tits. And that is part of the reason why I don't come over there as often as because TikTok itself does nothing to protect those of us and our channels. They do nothing. YouTube and Instagram, they're a little more supportive. But anyway, I just needed to say that because I don't want anybody to get ripped off. Just, use your brains. I don't come in the comments putting the finger emoji pointing up to a fake email username. Please, don't be dumb. Don't get caught by these guys. Don't. I only do one-to-one video calls, okay, where my face is there. I'm there on video. All right, enough of that. I'm not sure what the title is, but today we're gonna revisit a topic that I'm often asked about, and like I say, stay to the end, please. It's gonna be worth it. It's a topic I get asked about a lot. I also am going to be having a workshop on it. I just haven't, I've had a rough couple of months, remember? And busy rough couple of months, but it's coming. But this is the topic that, number one, if you've been in a live stream, you've seen me over respond to revision questions because I want people to understand revision. Some people have a misunderstanding about revision and they think it only revises or changes your personal feeling about the revision or the original experience. The original experience. That is not true. If you believe that to be true, it will be true for you in your own personal reality. But for the rest of us, it will work as it should, as in it revises the experience for all parties involved. I know our logical minds find that difficult to accept. I know that, but it does. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit. I am reading from The Law and the Promise from Neville Goddard. This is chapter 3. I'm going to be reading the most common, and everyone knows it's my favorite success story, but that's coming. I'm going to read a little bit more, break it down, and hopefully get you guys on the revision board. Revision can change your life. Revision can change your circumstances. Revision can change everything. Anybody struggling with old stories connected to your specific person, to your own shitty beliefs around like money, changing your appearance, health, changing your career, anything that you've got an old limited belief that you feel you are struggling to let go of or to change. Anybody wanting to work on their self-concept, if just embodying the new version of yourself, embodying the state, is something that still you're questioning. So you like to, we'll say affirm for your self-concept and you're struggling or you feel like it's not working. You know the golden rule, we always tell ourselves that everything is working. We're always doing everything right when it comes to manifesting. But revision can be used to rewrite or revise your life experiences. So if you've struggled with a shitty money mindset, money's so hard to come by, right? And try to manifest money. Let's move this over. Maybe you've struggled in love and you expect relationships to fail, or you expect that you're going to be mistreated for a number of reasons. You're not chosen, you're not loved, you're not desired, you're not wanted, you're not good enough, all the things. You can use revision to revise your previous circumstances, the previous experiences that caused this belief to take root and repeat over and over and over again throughout your life. Revision can be used to change everything. It's a game changer. It's why I am so supportive of revision. It's why. And yeah, I utilize revision without question. Okay? All right. The question may arise as to how, by representing others to ourselves as better than they really were, or mentally rewriting a letter to make it conform to our wish, or by revising the scene of an accident, the interview with the employer, or so on, could change what seems to be the unalterable facts of the past. But remember my claims for imagining. Imagining creates reality. What it makes, it can unmake. It is not only conservative, building a life from images supplied by memory. It is also creatively transformative, altering a theme already in being. So what Neville is trying to make very clear, it doesn't matter what your original experience was. Was it an accident? Was it, rewriting some letter, changing how someone's showing up or how they did show up in your life? Yeah, those very permanent experiences that seem like unalterable because they're facts, because you experienced it. To our logical mind, it sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that we think we can just go back and change. Just change that memory. We can. We can, because of the same way that we're manifesting going forward. Now remember, time's an illusion, but we're going to talk about time to help better understand. Utilizing revision. And there are multiple ways to utilize revision, whether you're scripting it, visualizing it, affirming it, even inner conversation and it. It's not even a word, I don't think, but it doesn't matter what technique you choose, but just like you utilize those techniques to manifest your future, it is no different. It's just we're going backwards into the past because our past does affect our future, whether we want to accept that or not. It does. And that's where the limited beliefs come in. Those limited beliefs that we hang on to due to the previous experiences or due to what we were taught in childhood, they are affecting our future. You can utilize revision to rewrite our own story. Okay. The parable of the unjust steward, Luke 16:1-8, gives the answer to this question. We can alter our world by means of a certain illegal, imaginal practice, by means of a mental falsification of the facts. That is, by means of a certain intentional, imaginal alteration of that which we have experienced. All this is done in one's own imagination. This is a form of falsehood, which not only is not condemned. You hearing me? It's not only not condemned, but it is actually approved in the gospel teaching. By means of such a falsehood, a man destroys the causes of evil and acquires friends, and on the strength of this revision proves, judging by the high praise the unjust steward received from his master, that he is deserving of confidence. Meaning, revision was taught in the Bible. In other words, it was taught in the Bible, which we all know that Bible is not what we have, I'm sure all of us have been raised to believe. You know, granted, I'm not in every one of your homes, I don't know, but I think a majority of us were raised to believe the Bible was, Jesus' word, God's word, all the wackadoodle, things that happened in the Old Testament really happened. We got those 10 commandments. We got all these things where Jesus was talking to us in the burning bush. I'm not making a joke. If you still believe the Bible means what we were originally taught, I'm teasing you a little bit. But no, the Bible was teaching us how to manifest with our minds. And it taught us revision too. Because imagining creates reality, we can carry revision to the extreme and revise a scene that would be otherwise unforgivable. Like, revising a breakup. I know nothing is off limits with revision. Nothing. We learn to distinguish between man, who is all imagination, and those states into which he may enter. An unjust steward looking at another's distress will represent the other to himself as he ought to be seen. Were he himself in need, he would enter his dream in his imagination and imagine what he would see and how things would seem and how people would act after these things should be. Then, in this state, he would fall asleep, feeling the way he would expect to feel under such circumstances. Would that all the Lord's people were unjust stewards, mentally falsifying the facts of life to deliver individuals forevermore. For the imaginal change goes forward until at length the altered pattern is realized in the heights of attainment. Our future is our imaginal activity in its creative march. Imagine better than the best you know. To revise the past is to reconstruct it with new content. Man should daily relive the day as he wished he had lived it, revising the scenes to make them conform to his ideals. For instance, suppose today's mail brought disappointing news. Revise the letter, mentally rewrite it, and make it conform to the news you wish you had received. Then, in imagination, read the revised letter over and over again, and this will arouse the feeling of naturalness, and imaginal acts become facts as soon as we feel natural in the act, which is the repetition, which is what you're doing when you're affirming every single day, or you're doing the 10,000K shit. All that repetition is what's making your affirmations feel more natural, which is by default getting your ass into the state that it needs to be in order to experience your manifestation. Revision is the same exact thing. And revision, listen, a previous experience of yours could be that one little nugget that's holding you back from your manifestation because there's a belief still existing that maybe you're struggling to let go of. We would want to revise that. Try to revise your day every night before falling asleep. Try to visualize clearly and enter into the revised scene, which would be the imaginal solution of your problem. The revised imaginal structure may have a great influence on others, but that is not your concern. The other influenced in the following story is profoundly grateful for that influence. LSE writes, this is my number one most favorite Neville Goddard success story. Late August, while on a blind date, I met the man I wanted to marry. This happens sometimes, and it happened to me. He was everything I had ever thought of as desirable in a husband. 2 days after this enchanted evening, it was necessary for me to change my place of residence because of my work. And that same week, the mutual friend who had introduced me to this man moved away from the city. I realized that the man I had met probably did not know of my new address, and frankly, I was not sure he knew my name. After your last lecture, I spoke to you of this situation. Although I had plenty of other dates, I could not forget this one man. Your lecture was based on revising your day, and after speaking to you, I determined to revise my day every day. Before going to sleep that night, I felt I was in a different bed, in my own home as a married woman, and not as a single working girl sharing an apartment with 3 other girls. I twisted an imaginary wedding band on my imaginary left hand, saying over and over to myself, "This is wonderful. I really am Mrs. J.E." And I fell asleep in what was a moment before a waking dream. I repeated this imaginary scene for 1 month, night after night. The first week in October, he found me. On our second day, I knew my dreams were rightly placed. Your teaching tells us to live in the end of our desire until that desire becomes fact. So although I did not know how he felt toward me, I continued night after night, living in the feeling of my dream realized. The results? In November, he proposed. In January, we announced our engagement, and the following May, we were married. The loveliest part of it all, however, is that I am happier than I ever dreamed possible, and I know in my heart he is too, Mrs. J.E. By using her imagination radically instead of conservatively, by building her world out of pure dreams of fancy, rather than using images supplied by memory, she brought about the fulfillment of her dream. Common sense would have used images supplied by her memory and thereby perpetuated the fact of lack in her life. Imagination created what she desired out of a dream of fancy. Everyone must live wholly on the level of imagination, and it must be consciously and deliberately undertaken. If our time of revision be well spent, we need not worry about results. Our fondest hopes will be realized. There is no inevitable permanence in anything. Both past and present continue to exist only because they are sustained by imagining on some level or another. And a radical transformation of life is always possible by man revising the undesirable part of it. It is to the pruning shears of revision that we owe our prime fruit. Man and his past are one continuous structure. The structure contains all of the past, which has been conserved, and still operates below the threshold of his senses to influence the present and the future of his life. Long story short, when we are struggling to let go of old beliefs, when we are struggling to change our self-concept by shifting into the version of ourselves who has our desires, when we're struggling because of previous life experiences. For instance, if you are in the midst of manifesting a specific person and you're in no contact, you're in a breakup, no contact, and, because of previous relationships, when the breakups occurred, you never did reconcile with any of those SPs or whatnot, that fear, right? That fear of abandonment, the fear that, no one else has ever come back to you. All of that is sitting and hanging on to yourself in your self-concept. So if we're struggling to let shit like that go so we can manifest that specific person back in your life, right? It's like we're cutting that old pattern, that fearful past experience. We're cutting it at the knees and saying, no, you're not holding me back from my manifestation. You're not repeating in my future. I'm manifesting that man or woman back, and I'm not going to be stopped, because in a reality existing right now in this moment, we're already together. So I can give myself that now. I can step into the version of myself and embodying being in that relationship, giving myself that same love now so it can show up in my motherfucking 3D. We utilize the revision to get rid of all those shitty experiences. And we don't have to overwhelm ourselves. And this is where I said, please wait to the end. It is worth it. It is worth it to take a look at things. If you feel there is anything holding you back, you know me, on this channel, I like to say there is nothing wrong with us. We don't have to be perfect to manifest, but there is nothing left to fix within me. I'm perfect enough now, and I don't even need to be perfect to manifest. Everything's good now. I get to embody the new version of myself at will, anytime I want, right? I like that mindset. That has been most effective for me in my own personal manifestations. But if you feel you're struggling to let old stories go, let's revise. And let's revise all together as a community, the community of HBICs. And why don't we do a revision challenge to Christmas? A revision challenge to Christmas. You, as individuals, can decide what you want to revise. Maybe there are no previous experiences, but you want to be just like my favorite girl, Mrs. J.E. Revise your day every day before you go to sleep. Any circumstances you don't like, you're going to rewrite them right before you fall asleep. Or maybe there's nothing that happened during the day that upset you, so there's no point in rewriting anything there, but maybe we're going to rewrite the day as, you're already married to your SP, or you're laying right next to your SP in the same bed in the home you two live together. It's up to you. It's your world, your reality. So it's your imagination that's going to be accessed, but let's do it. Let's do it together. So it's a choice. You can either be revising your day every single day until Christmas. Chances are, if you're sincerely doing it, your 3D is going to be a fun and it's going to be a magical holiday season for you if you allow it. Right? Listen and be creative. Let's give the example of, all right, you're manifesting a specific person. And throughout the day, you had several moments of spiraling and losing your shit and sitting in doubtful thoughts. We could simply revise that you had a wonderful mental diet all day. There was no spiraling. I was on top of my shit all day because I comfortably am already in the knowing that I have my relationship. No worries. Do whatever you want, but let's do it. Let's revise our days or revise previous experiences. Let's all do revision together for Christmas. And listen, if you're already doing Sammy's Christmas, I think it's the Isn't It Wonderful challenge, you can do both. You can do both. Come on now, we're HBICs or mermaids. We can do it both. How to do revision if you want to revise experiences. The way I like to revise experiences is I like to write it down in my script and journal. Now, in the past, until I'm a little more lazy now. In the past, I would actually write out the original memory, but I wouldn't go into detail. I would just say, we'll just, SP solo vacation. Then underneath, I would rewrite the day the solo happened, and I would rewrite it from the perspective of it never happened, right? That day he texted me just how much he was so head over heels in love with me, and he's ready to spend the rest of his life with me. And then you would reread that several times a day, no less than twice a day, every day for 2 weeks. But to line up with the challenge, if you don't want to actually reread it every day, you're going to reread it until that becomes the new dominant thought, meaning it's what comes up first. From there, hop on the revising your day challenge and be revising your day that you're with your specific person. Okay? So that's like the scripting way of doing it. All right? The other way of doing revision is through visualization, meaning you go back to the moment that you had the experience, you get the visual of that moment, and you move the chess pieces or the characters, you're one of them, we move them around and you see that visual completely different. You see it as if the way you wish it had happened, and you visualize that more than once, okay? I'm trying to think. There's also, just for what it's worth, there are other ways to revise, meaning you can revise on the spot, right in the moment as you're thinking of something. And that's where where the scripting of the revision and the visualizing your revision comes in. If the old memory comes up in your mind, you are in that moment going to be, no, that didn't happen. This is what happened. And then shift your focus. Just wanted to add that little nugget. So those are 2 ways of doing revision. You know, there's also what I call the shortcut of revision. And that's kind of like the little nugget I just gave you. If the old memory pops up in your mind, or a thought that's connected to that experience. Like, perhaps you're doing daily affirming, okay? And you're affirming that you're in the relationship with your specific person, but you also know you've been revising the breakup. And say you're doing your affirmations and your ego says, what? You guys aren't together. He doesn't love you. You guys are broke up. Nope. That's tied to your revision. No, that's not true. He's head over heels in love with me. We have never been apart. You know, we have never been apart. We've been together like 100,000 years at this point. Being a little sarcastic, but you see what I'm saying? Address it. Because we want this revision to work, you know what I'm saying? As far as revising your day, if you're going to do that, if that's going to be the challenge for you until Christmas, revising your day can be done through scripting if you want. Some people like to script right before they go to bed. Okay, script it. Be as detailed as you'd like to be. How you lived your day, as if you were doing like a journal, diary entry of the day. You could do it that way. Number 2, visualize. Visualize. Go over the scenes of your day. Revise in your visual. Anything you didn't want to experience, anything you wish had gone a different way, you revise it as if it did. Or you see yourself that you lived your day just like Mrs. J. Why do I feel like I just said that? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I have had a broken coffee maker for the weekend, and today is the day I got to drink a cup of coffee for the first time in 3 days. And so my caffeine level, I'm like inside. So that's why I'm struggling to talk today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some semblance of revision until Christmas, until we get shit in our 3D. And to keep it fair, one of our fellow HBICs is the inspiration for this challenge. I didn't get a chance to respond to her comment. So for what it's worth, Amy. Speaking of Amy, I will also be putting a link up in the community tab for all of you to go vote for Amy. Girl has a chance to be in another like pinup magazine, you know, like that vintage inspired pinup stuff. Amy's fucking gorgeous. I'm going to post something up. I keep forgetting to do it, but this is going to be where I remember. So go vote for Amy. It's free to vote for what it's worth. It's free to vote. Although Amy doesn't know, but I bought votes for her last night. I did, because I want my girl to win. But yeah, Amy inspired this because she asked if we could do a revision challenge within our the paid channel membership group. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do that for Christmas. We'll do it all together. I'm sorry, my hair is wet. Okay. All right, Kim, you're all over the place. Just stop it. So revision for Christmas. Revise previous experiences. Oh, that's what I'm forgetting. You can revise with affirmations too. Say, for instance, you know you're struggling with an old story with your specific person, you know, like the one with the breakup. Let's see it as, okay, what you experienced was a relationship where you were treated like dog shit by your SP. They were not this wonderful human being, right? It wasn't that great. And maybe even SP said, we're never getting back together because we never got along. No. Utilize a revision affirmation. No, our relationship was always amazing. We always got along. I have always had successful relationships. Like using that always or any other word that indicates past, utilize that. So you can do revision through affirmations too. So if you want to do that, do that. And revising your day with affirmations. I always have good days. I spend every single day with my specific person, just like I spent today with my specific person, you know, however, whatever fun, you know, sounds natural to you. Okay. And on that note, damn, another long one. Get on your revision games. Let's do it for Christmas. I don't care if you're already doing Sammy's. Isn't it wonderful challenge for Christmas? You can do both. You could do both. It's worth it. Don't we all want magical Christmases? So let's start fucking demanding it. And we'll handle the past while Sammy's one handles the future. Because this past is affecting our future too. So we're double whamming that shit, okay?